Go ahead.
Okay, another one that it was one of the most difficult things I've ever done was the AB 413. I've been the chairman of the Southern Nevada Caucus. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you told us about that in the last interview.
So one of the big issues in the Las Vegas area and the Mesquite and every place else was how do we get monies to continue to take care of our infrastructure, our highway infrastructure and such. Mesquite has needs like the
118.
118. Remember the 118 overpass, whether it goes there or not, it's up to the city of Mesquite. But there's to try to be able to do an indexing fuel tax that like Washoe County has been doing for the last 5 or 6 years. I don't know why it happened that way, but it was passed, I think, in 2005 or 2007 for Washoe to be able to index, and the rest of the state, but Clark County didn't. And so it was just given the authority for Clark County to be able to index the first 3 years, which was one of the difficult things. Most everybody wanted, the chambers in the Las Vegas area were all supportive of having the county commission be able to authorize that. The governor said the only way he would do that if it was a 2/3 majority of the commission to be able to let them index it for the first 3 years. Then in 3 years it will go to a vote statewide. It had every time you found one spot you could fix something else turned up, and it's a taxing nightmare to make all the pieces fit. Truckers it was a big issue. What happens to interstate truckers versus intrastate? Interstate truckers travel most of their miles in California or Utah. Well, California has a 44-cent fuel tax, where we're at 27, I think, is fuel tax. Well, they not only pay if they buy the fuel in Clark County, they would pay for that fuel. They in turn turn around and they have to reimburse back California for that shortfall, because they don't recognize the IFTA funds unless it is a statewide program, and Nevada hasn't got a statewide program yet. And so they can't get those collections back from California, so you're actually paying, like one trucker testified that currently he's paying almost $30,000 a quarter back to California. So he's double paying those dollars. So
wow.
That was one of those things that we want to make sure we corrected, but to try to make it implement and work with the future state indexing, if the folks vote for it, is going to be challenging. So that was one of the issues with it, and it was just a nightmare for me to be able to handle, and really thank the speaker for that opportunity and the Southern Nevada Caucus. I did have some great help. I had Boosty Monty Adams, Assemblywoman, and then also Jason Frierson and others, and the Speaker Kirkpatrick worked with me on that bill. So
okay. All right.
It went to the last 3 minutes of the session.
That was one of the others that was the midnight dash.
Yeah, it was a scramble. One of the others that was really controversial, and man, I could go all kinds of circles. It was SB 303. It was the program for illegals to be able to obtain a driver's card.
Right.
That was a big issue. In the end, I voted for it. I think it's better that we go ahead and if by having this card, what happens is they have to take the same driving test and everything that we do, where they don't. So they have to go through all the same training, the same process. It doesn't give them, it spells right out on it that it's not for any other, you can't use it for voter registration or anything else. It'll have a strip on it that'll just distinct that it's not an identification card. It's only for driver's privilege card is all it can be used for. You have concerns, well, people are here illegally. Well, they're already here illegally, they're already driving. Without the insurance, this will put them in a spot where they're going to have to come in every year and re-register, re-qualify. So currently you only have to get a driver's license every 4 years. This will make them have to come in and do it every year. People were there in massive support for it, which was quite shocking. It'll be interesting. I guess Utah's been doing it for a number of years, been very successful. Somewhere around 38,000 people a year that they register. It was, I think, $12 or $14 million a year in revenues to the state. If the amount of people we have, they figured around 68,000 people would do that. So
Okay. Anything else on your list before we go to mine?
Well, SB 123.
Okay.
Okay, that was an issue that directly involves Mesquite. A number of people are for SB 123, a number of people were against it. It passed.
And what is it?
SB 123 is the dismantling of the coal-fired plant in
Oh, yeah.
the Moaffa Valley.
Uh-huh.
What people may or may not know, and they need to follow it because now it's coming. When they dismantle that plant, there is no PUC regulation. They rejected the amendment that was trying to be put on to make sure that PUC still can regulate it. What happens, in my belief, with this bill, we all would like to see solar, but at the end of the day, NV Energy has a right to be able to have a profit. So whatever they do, if they tear that plant down, if they build new plants, we understand we have to pay for it. This now takes 500 kilowatts or whatever it is, megawatts or gigawatts or whatever it is.
That's about the way I feel about those watts.
Anyway, they can dismantle that. Currently, the Overton plant, the Glendale plant, is only generating about 25% of its capacity in the off seasons. Only during the peak season, and about a month and a half out of the summer, does that actually go up to that higher percentage of 80 to 90% of its usage, and the rest of the time it sits there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got a power line that you're paying for to come down from the south to help maximize that.
Come down from the north.
From the north, I mean, down to the south.
Okay.
That will bring that geothermal power down
Right.
and be able to use during those peak periods. But this bill actually authorizes those folks to be able to tear those plants down and re-put it out there whenever they deem that they want to do it without checking. You go into the PUC or the consumer advocates to be able to do it, and you're going to pay for that. And so they say it'll only cost us just a small increment more, but nobody really believes that when you don't have the regulations, so you can have power sitting there that you may or may not need. That's one of the concerns.
And it does affect Mesquite because Overton Power District buys electricity from NV Energy.
Absolutely.
And so whatever cost increases or whatever profit increases, price increases that NV Energy just chooses to put out there now without PUC oversight is going to be passed right on to OPD customers.
It passed unanimous through the Senate, and then when it got it to our House, that's about the time when Warren Buffett
came in and bought it.
So now there was a panic, and that one little piece of having the same PUC regulation that they have on everything else would have been probably the unanimous vote. But when they wouldn't do that, it caused a number of us to go against it, because it gives me grave concern when somebody fights the same regulation that you've had, and they wanted to say they had it, but why fight the amendment? So, and that was one of those issues that had out there. So.